There's a revolution brewing in the hearts and the minds of the awake. There's a revolution waking from slumber in the minds of those who are yet to fully realize what's happening around the world, but have an inner stirring, an inner voice calling to them, reminding them that they want to be free. Sometimes you see traces of this revolution on the street. You see signs being held and flyers being passed out and voices speaking through megaphones. Occasionally, you hear the revolution over the radio or through the internet. Sometimes you might even smell the revolution growing in your garden. But ultimately, this revolution remains in the hearts and minds of the individual. And that is you, and that is me. Together, as we spread this message of liberty, of true freedom, of self-rule, of responsibility, of mutual aid, of voluntary association, if we spread these ideas of freedom, they continue to grow. And ultimately, we will reach a tipping point where the ideas of freedom have overtaken the ideas of statism, the idea of government as parent figure or savior. And when we reach that point, and we will, we'll look back on the past, our current present, and wonder how we ever even lost the idea of freedom. It'll seem so obvious, like it's been there the entire time waiting for us. Because it is. And there are those who have not yet found this message. There are those who are still caught up in their own emotional muck or stuck in the day-to-day grind of the machine that is the state, attempting to give purpose to their lives, give purpose to the drudgery that we're told is just a part of life. That every good, honest person should be working a 9-to-5 job, should be a slave to the very system that we're told we need to exist. And these people who find themselves in these situations, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not sheeple. They're human beings, just as you or I, who have not yet come across this message. Does that mean we're the chosen ones and they are somehow lost in the wind? Not at all. There's no difference between you or anyone else who has not yet heard this message. We were all once in that place, and the only way we came to this place, where we consider ourselves to be aware or awake or in the process of educating ourselves so that we can move past these things, is because other people chose to keep the message alive and to pass it back to us. Now, as people begin to let go of this facade, this belief that we need the state, and people begin to wake up to the corporations and to the banks and to the way that they work together with the state, and they realize not only the power of the message of liberty, because that is definitely one step, and I know some of you got that, but then go even further and recognize that it's not just the state itself, but that there are people who run the state and control the state. There are a they. And once those people who are blind to the matrix are confronted with this information, they are also confronted with a choice. It requires them to face the fact that their life has been built upon a lie and that everything that we've been told is a lie and that there's something better. That also requires them to do something.
All right. What's up, everybody? This is Derrick Broze, the Conscious Resistance Network, and this is episode 102 of the Conscious Resistance Live, which we've been broadcasting for the last 6 years now. And today, our episode is called Take a Look in the Mirror, and there's a few reasons why that came to my mind, why I chose to call today's episode Take a Look in the Mirror. Before we get into that, though, I want to let you guys know a little bit about that clip you're seeing there. That is actually from our YouTube channel. If you've never seen it, it was released in September 2016, and it's a little mini documentary that a friend of mine put together. And it's actually kind of interesting. Today, we're going to do a lot of reflecting. I'm going to show you guys, we're going to go back. I'm going to show you guys a lot of my old work because I've been doing this now for almost 10 years, and sometimes I have to stop and reflect and really think, like, damn, I've done quite a bit. And maybe, some of the people who have found the conscious resistance or my work more recently have no idea. And, I talked the other day about not just getting consumed by content and just watching the show all the time, right? So I don't want to just sit here and talk all about like, hey, go spend hours and hours and years watching all my content. But at the same time, I have put in a lot of energy and effort. And I think that there's value to it. But that clip, it's called The Conscious Resistance. I'm going to go ahead and just post that in the YouTube chat. And also, of course, today we're taking calls on Discord. So if you're going to be on Discord and you want a friend into the light, then I can take your calls just a little bit. But that clip is just called The Conscious Resistance featuring Derrick Broze. And it basically goes into the whole philosophy of what I call the conscious resistance. And the cool thing about it, though, what I really appreciate is the dude who put it together, he actually took some of my old podcasts, my own shows from like 2013. I've been doing like podcasts and radio and all this stuff now since 2012. And he took together a bunch of different clips that I had said, I guess, some cool things, and it turned into a 21-minute little documentary. And that clip is right there now on the YouTube chat. And I didn't want to play the whole thing because, obviously, I'm just sitting here and I can talk to you guys and tell you the same things. But when you have time, check that out. I think it's super inspiring. They're my words, but he did some really awesome graphics and added music and makes it sound all epic and whatnot. So check that out. And what other sort of house cleaning items do we have to do today? It's Saturday morning. I know I've said I'm going to do the show on Fridays, but Fridays come around and I'm just like, I've been working all week, like writing articles. I don't want to just sit here and talk for a couple more hours. Or in the case of yesterday, Miriam's been out of town for the whole last week, and she finally got home, and she brought me some weed from Colorado. It was time to hang out and spend some time with her, cooking dinner and relaxing and stuff. So here we are Saturday morning, and we're doing the show. And I am not going to cover news today. This is really cool. I'm kind of excited about this. We'll see. I don't want to promise anything, right? I've talked about this more recently, and I'm sure I've talked about it since the beginning, that how exhausting it can be to just constantly report on the news, both as like a journalist and just somebody who gives a damn about what's going on in the world. Just like, oh, here's another surveillance story. Here's another facial recognition story. Here's another people getting beat by the police. Here's another war bomb being dropped somewhere. Here's your, money being extorted from you and yada, yada, yada. You get it, right? We all know things are fucked up. I mean, like, if you don't know that, then somehow you ended up on this channel. Pause this video, go back to the very beginning of my channel, watch all those videos, and by the time you get back to this point, you will be a brand new person, I promise you. But for those of us who know things are screwed up and we're like, yeah, okay, like it's entertainment, right? It is important. It's information. I get to share with you guys every week new knowledge. Like, oh my God, look at this crazy story that I, dug up, because I do put a lot of effort into finding stories that you're not going to find elsewhere. I don't want to just repeat the same everything else on all the other alternative media channels and mainstream media. So there's time and there's effort, and it's a value because I'm trying to bring you knowledge. But at the same time, you can only hear so many stories over and over before you're either, I believe, pushed to apathy because you're like, yeah, oh God, the cops are killing everybody. Yeah, you guys already told me this. I stopped caring already. Or you get in this panic mode of like, holy shit, the cops are killing everybody. Oh my God, they're about to beat down my door. They're going to shoot me and my family and my dog. There's and obviously not everybody goes those routes, either apathy or fear, but those are two traps along our path towards awakening that you can fall into. You can fall into feeling apathetic, like things are screwed, and you guys see the defeatists. Some of you guys are the defeatists who comment on YouTube and like, well, the Rothschilds control everything, or well, these people control everything, or whatever, whoever the heck you think controls everything, and there's nothing to do. And then the other folks who are just really angry and Alex Jonesy in the Alex Jones phase. And this is actually something that we talk about in my second book, which I wish I could pull up right here and show you guys. That in Finding Freedom in an Age of Confusion, we talk about the importance of not getting sucked down the rabbit holes. The rabbit holes are obviously valuable because none of us would be here without going down certain rabbit holes and paying attention to what's going around on in the world. But if you get stuck in that sort of it's a grieving process, basically, is what it comes down to. This is what we write about. The grieving process that you guys have all heard about. I can't remember what the order, but it's like anger, denial, acceptance, these sort of things, right? Well, this is a real psychological concept that was put together by a few different people, and the idea is not that every single person is going to pass through every single stage in the grieving process, or even in the same order, or spend the amount of time like, oh, everybody's going to grieve for this long and then everybody's going to be angry for this long. No, it doesn't happen like that. But we do go through a grieving process when we're waking up, and we realize that, holy shit, all the things we've been taught, or most of them, I mean, if not everything, is a lie and is wrong, and we have to relearn and unlearn things and teach the next generation better, right? So this little rant here, what I'm saying is that while it's valuable for us to be aware of what's going on in the world, and while I will always continue to do that, and yes, seek a balance, as you guys are mentioning, I have to focus as well on the solutions. So, and sort of where I've come from. And I've been doing a lot of that looking back. I mentioned the other day, I didn't show my face on camera, but I did the video called This Is Not for Entertainment Purposes Only. And I noticed that some of you guys seem to think I was really angry in the video. I know I was like kind of raging a little bit, and maybe I cussed a few times, but I wasn't really angry. For me, whenever I come here and I sit in front of this microphone or I get on a stage or something, like the creator takes over and just tells me what to say and what I need to speak out. And I always pray first and say, let me speak the words that these people are meant to hear, whatever that may be. So the things that come out, they're meant for me. That's why I'm speaking in the mirror. I'm always talking to you guys as much as talking to myself. And so if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, because some of you guys seem to think I was angry. I'm not angry. I was just like letting out the frustration and the reality that, again, some people choose to see the awakening, the journey towards a better world, trying to get people to stop believing in the government, all these kind of things. Yeah, it's passion. Basically people think that you can get stuck in the angry phase. And some people, I see you guys just basically treating this as if this is TV, right? So if this is like your Saturday morning cartoons, right? Basically, it's like we all have different ways of relaxing, and maybe in the past you watch TV, but now we've outgrown TV. Some of us were like, oh, TV, that's old school. No, we're all on the internet. So on the internet, we get to choose what we want. But you sit back and you've got your bong and you've got your joint and your beer or your coffee or your whatever, and you are able to sit and reflect, and you watch We Are Change, and then you go watch Max Egan, and you're like, oh yeah, it's interesting. Then you go watch True Stream Media, and then you go watch No More News, and then you go watch whatever, Passio and Larkin Rose and Carrie Wedler, and yeah, I mean, dude, there's dozens of people. These are my friends, colleagues, and I know that you guys pay attention to them as well. And it's like, holy shit, man, how can you just consume so much stuff? I know I do it. I do it for research purposes. And I try to follow that up with action and going out there and getting involved in the community and promoting these ideas to other people, not just sitting here taking it in and not doing anything. But, the whole goal here is basically to just, I guess, to motivate people to action. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I said all that to say that we're going to talk about action. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do a rewind. I'm going to show you guys some of the work I've done over the years that I'm kind of proud of. Is it okay for me to be proud? Or it's really weird for me. I've had to develop, I told you guys, I've struggled with self-confidence all of my life. Some people hear that and they're surprised. Or, I've struggled with a lot of mental different things, social anxiety, and then self-judgment, and then always feeling like I got like weight issues, really weird stuff, sometimes for a man to have. But these are the realities that I've had to grow with and live with, right? And so sometimes it's hard for me to just be like, I'm proud of myself. I did something cool. Like, occasionally, I'll have to stop. Like, for example, guys, I'll just be real with you. Like, going on tour and being able to meet so many of you the last 2 years and then speak in Europe last year and speak and do all these great things. Like, I just kind of stay focused like a laser beam. I'm just really like, okay, I rarely allow myself a moment to stop and like freaking holy shit, look, this is amazing. I'm getting to do all these great things and meet people and spread awareness. So every now and then I'll kind of turn to Miriam and be like, I feel kind of excited. And like, I don't really know how to, and I guess I don't know how to let myself just experience that sometimes, but that's important. So I'm sharing that, being vulnerable, sharing that with you guys, because we have to let ourselves feel. We got to let ourselves feel the good, the bad, everything in between. And sometimes, there's a little, my inner child is this little dude who's, is like just sometimes fucking dancing and celebrating. He's like, holy shit, like just, excited, like, holy shit, we're going to travel, we're meeting cool people, just doing fun things, exposing. I like exposing corrupt people. I like exposing power. I like doing this. I mean, this is fun for me. It's stress, and yeah, you got to find balance. But at the end of the day, I love doing this. So, but we want to focus on, or at least I choose to focus on action. I can't make you guys do anything, and I don't want to make you guys do anything. I can only lead by example, and that's all I've ever tried to do, is to lead by example. And if something I say makes sense to you, or is entertaining, or pushes you to action, then holy shit, that's amazing. I actually want to share something real quick with you guys. I just thought of this, and it's a message from a buddy of mine who I won't mention. He might be listening, and maybe he's cool with me mentioning, but I'm just going to leave his name out of it. He's also an amazing freaking activist, and I'll say he's from the Las Vegas area, and he's involved with all kinds of great causes. And I got to, I've worked with him online for a couple of years. I got to meet him last year when I spoke in Vegas and really get to connect with him and on a deeper level. And then he came to Houston a couple months ago when we did the Independent Media Summit. And so anyways, I'm going to share, your inner child does exist. Everybody has an inner child. You just got to go in there and find it. Sometimes our inner children are hiding. But I want to share this message from my buddy in Vegas. And I just want to share this with you guys so you can understand, maybe get the goal of why I did that video. This is not for entertainment purposes only, because this is the kind of shit that makes my heart shine. And it's not about ego, but it makes me feel like, yes, keep going. You are achieving your goals. He said, hey, what's up, man? I just watched your video. This is not for entertainment purposes only. That was a beautiful call to action, my friend. I just want you to know how influential you have been to me. Personally, from rescuing food, which I then share with our houseless neighbors, to my first garden I decided to plant this year, to my journalism and confronting those in power, and my overall guiding philosophy. Your work has inspired me to action in so many ways, and I just want to thank you for that. I love the video. It was passionate. I know how frustrating it can be to get people to act, so I really thought the video was a great way to snap people out of their laziness. I also find that when trying to give guidance to others, I too speak as if I'm speaking to myself, because we are all one and we are all share in the same struggles, and because I too need to hear it. Helping others helps us just the same. That's absolutely right. And he said, just wanted to touch base with you and send some positivity your way. And yeah, so those are the kind of amazing messages that literally just like pour fuel into me and, help me continue going every day. Yep, Joey, you know it, you guessed it. Hey, what's up, brother? I knew you were there. But yeah, these are the kind of things I get straight to you, brother. Like, thank you. I didn't get a chance to respond to your email yet, but man, yes, we are in this together, and I appreciate the message. And I appreciate everything that you do, dude. I mean, like, I'm not on Facebook, but periodically things pop up in front of me, and seeing the work that you're just doing, brother, like seeing you confronting the fucking cops and going out there, and I mean, yeah, dude, it reminds me of the work that I love to do, and it reminds me of how I watched other people do things like that and get them inspired. And that's the way this is supposed to work, is that we spiral. It's like a spiral. We keep inspiring each other, and it keeps just feeding into and growing and growing and growing and growing, and hopefully towards a better place. So yeah. Somebody said, why don't you find how Israel's behind all our wars, like the one with Iran coming up? Federal Reserve, whoever you are, you're always making comments about Israel, and like, I get it. We all know that Israel's fucked up. I talk about it plenty of times. I actually just did a video about Iran the other day, so go watch that. But yeah, so today we're going to take a look in the mirror. Does anybody have a mirror? I don't have a mirror in front of me. I got a phone here. Let me look at my phone. Okay, I'm looking at myself. look in the mirror. If you guys can literally, if you have a mirror, pull out your purse, pull out your wallet, pull out whatever you got. If you got a mirror in front of you, or even again your camera, like let's all do that. Can we do that? Is that weird to do? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Pull out your phones. I know you got them near you somewhere. Some of you already have them connected to you or inside of you or things like that. But look here, I'm gonna look at myself and okay, there's a dude. All right, what's up, man? How you doing? All right, so take a look in the mirror. Why are we taking a look in the mirror? What is the value of looking at ourselves, looking inward, and as opposed to only looking outward? Have any of you actually listened to any of the speeches I've given that I post on the YouTube channel? I know some of them are long, and I don't expect anything. So I know some of you may have seen them, some of you may have not. Some of you may have heard me give the talks in person. But if you want to know more about what I call holistic activism, then I recommend you going to check out some of those talks because they're a little bit more organized than what I'm about to say to you. But generally, when I'm talking about holistic activism, I talk about this form of activism that is very reactive. Again, just focused. Like if this channel was just focused on the news only, right, and no solutions, then that's reactive. That's just the traditional form of activism. Just point your fingers out here. It's the Rothschilds, it's the government, it's Monsanto, it's throw out some names. It's the Jews, it's the Islam, it's the freaking whatever you want to say, right? It's just pointing fingers outwardly, the Rockefellers, whatever. And not to say that those people don't have a role, because obviously they are playing a role. But at the same time, we, as individuals, you, free, powerful, beautiful people, are also playing a role, right? So there's all these lawsuits going on right now about Monsanto because Roundup is giving people cancer. And if we only point our finger at Monsanto and say, dang it, Monsanto made this poisonous chemical and now it's giving people cancer, and that's true. But what about all the people who are buying Monsanto's products? What about all the companies and the farms that are choosing to use them, right? And what about all the individuals, who some of you may be out there, who are spraying your lawn with that same product, right? It's like, so everybody is playing a role. Everybody who chooses to is contributing to that problem. It's not just Monsanto, right? And it's not just that the government is doing these things. Government is oppressive. Government is inherently, I would say, immoral and wrong because it interferes with our freedom to be who we are meant to be, our free, true selves, and all these wonderful things. But at the same time, you're playing a role one way or the other. Like we can't necessarily get away from sales tax or, property taxes. We can avoid income taxes and different things like that. But then, some people straight up work for the government or work for the military. They're out there being mercenaries. So at the end of the day, taking a holistic approach is about looking at the problems that you see or the things that irk you. And that doesn't even mean, the outside world. You could just be like, damn it, I hate that I always make commitments and then I don't follow through with them. All right, well, let me, instead of blaming somebody else or blaming the traffic or blaming whatever, let me really dig deep and pull out that freaking mirror again. Look in the mirror and basically ask yourself, why is this happening? Why am I failing in this way? Or why am I, not achieving my goal? So that's what it means to be holistic. Whether you're talking politics, you're talking interpersonal relationships, you're talking about your romantic relationships, your business relationships, whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's about the role that we play. So if you don't participate with the Monsanto, the Amazon, the Google, etc. complex, then your hands are clean. But if you do, then you're playing a role in that. And that's not for me to judge you, Rika, the hopeful voluntarist. If you say you have an Amazon problem, then I guess that's for you. Maybe some people will be like, well, I hate you because Amazon is building facial recognition software that they're selling to governments around the world, and Jeff Bezos is rich, propaganda, CIA connected, Washington Post, blah, blah, whatever, right? We could judge you if we wanted to. We could each judge each other for different things. For me, that doesn't serve a purpose. I mean, that doesn't mean we should do nothing. But at the same time, I think what it's up to you as an individual, and I mean you, the general, all of us, to say is like, well, I recognize I'm participating in this institution or this problem that I don't like. How can I move away from that? But delivery is free. You guys are freaking hilarious. How can I move away from, this issue and do it in a way that actually respects my principles and values? Because this is the reason I love agorism so much. And if you're listening here and you never heard me talk about agorism, again, pause the video, go look on the channel, look up our agorism playlist, which I have pulled up here somewhere. And find out more all about that, because that's key to what we talk about here on this channel. And the thing about agorism was all and is all about consistency, and consistency between means and ends, principles, right? Here's our playlist: Anarchy, Agorism, Strategy. Who is Samuel Konkin? What is agorism? This awesome interview that I did with James a while back. Lots of info here about agorism and how to decentralize and how to use freedom cells and come together without government and without authoritarian methods, right? But the key thing about that, the reason agorism was so amazing, is because Samuel Konkin essentially just said that it was the logical, end result of applying libertarian or freedom-based principles to the fullest extent. That you can't claim to be about liberty or freedom or this and that, but then also at the same time wanting to be an authoritarian or wanting to control other people or wanting to use violence against other people, right? It defeats itself. So that's the beauty of the whole philosophy. Besides being action-based and strategy-based, I think that the importance of what I try to talk about, and what I've heard over the years from some people, is that I talk about solutions and that they don't always hear solutions from other content creators. So at the end of the day, that's why I promote agorism, because it's about solutions, it's about action, and it's about consistency. All you have to do is get to know yourself on a level where that you can say, I am blah, blah, blah. This is what I like. These are the principles that guide me. These are the feelings I have. This is the state of mind I am, etc. And then from there, start to use that holistic approach to align everything in your life as much as possible. We don't live in a world where it's perfect. Shit, dude, I'm driven crazy by the amount of recycling. Even recycling, right? It's supposed to be better for us, but the Chinese aren't taking the recycling anymore, so now it's just going to go end up on some indigenous community in Malaysia or somewhere else and pollute part of the planet, right? But at the end of the day, it's out of my sight, out of my mind, right? So it feels better to do it. But my point is that I am far away from where I want to be. I want to be producing less waste. I'm ready to get the heck out of this apartment and into that RV and to start just living smaller and being more minimal with my living like I used to be. I've got too many things now. I got a freaking weight bench right here in front of me. I got desks. I got furniture. I need to get rid of all this shit. It drives me crazy. But I know that it takes steps. And so I'm being patient with myself to work towards that direction and to keep moving in that direction so that I can align my values and my principles. So again, have that consistency. How many of you struggle with consistency? Let's get a show of hands or a phone call. If anybody, I got the Discord open, so if anybody feels like calling in, I should be able to do that. But yeah, how many of you struggle to be consistent? And I don't even just mean we're talking activism, anarchism, agorism, but just consistent in your word. I know that that's something that I've always struggled with. I don't know if I've ever told you guys the story that the second time that I got locked up, the place I went to, after being locked up for almost a year and then getting out and only making it out for 5 months, and then my mom and family being pretty fucking pissed at me and being like, you're fucked. My mom's like, you're turning into your father. Don't come back. And I had to go turn myself into jail downtown. I basically was just more committed than ever to figure out why the hell I kept getting locked up and why I was using drugs and whatever else. And so they made you do this exercise, and you do this exercise where you go to the doctor and you find out you have cancer and that you're going to die in 6 months, and then 1 year, and then 5 years, and then 10 years. And then they're like, okay, what would you do with your 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, right? And you supposed to take it seriously, really think about that. Think about this. What would you do if you found out today that you have 6 months to live? What are the things that really are going to matter to you, and the type of actions that you want to take, and the type of feeling that you want to leave behind, the legacy you want to leave behind, right? And then eventually, as part of this practice, after you're getting deep and thinking about this, you die, right? You die, and they're like, boom, turn the page, you're dead. Here's your tombstone. You have 5 words to put on your tombstone, on your grave. What are those 5 words? And this is a pretty crazy exercise, because for me, some people are in there, they're locked up, they're like, yeah, whatever, I just got to get through this. They're making me do some stupid exercise so they can say that we're in rehab even though we're locked up in a prison. And some people don't take it seriously, but I was determined, I need to figure this shit out. How did I get here? And I need to figure out where's my life going? And if I end up dying, what am I leaving behind? I've spent the first 20 something years of my life depressed and confused and angry and hurting people. And so I really took it seriously. And so you want to know what I put on my tombstone? The 5 words I chose that I still struggle, and I'm still just like, this is my commitment, my goal, my effort throughout my life, because it's something I struggled with for, more than half my life. I put on my tombstone, a man of his word, because that's what I want to be known as. And that's what I've struggled to be with, my younger years and even up until now. It's definitely something in different ways that I can commit to being better at. One of the books that really helped me a lot with thinking about those ideas is, of course, the 4 Agreements, which I've done videos on the 4 Agreements that you can find on this channel, me talking about it. But one of the 4 Agreements is to be impeccable with your word. And that to me is the same thing, like a man of his word, be impeccable with your word, like really mean the things you say and say the things you mean. And that is part of being consistent for me and being principled, right? Because if I just sat here and talked about this shit all day on YouTube to you guys, but then at home I'm sitting here just like freaking eating non-GMO food and polluting and being wasteful and chasing money and I don't know, just being abusive to myself and to other people and things like that, then I'm a fraud, right? Then there's no consistency. It's just all talk. It's all talk. And that's what I love about agorism again, is agorism and counter economics were not just about talking, but about like putting this shit into action, being that change. Woo, really cliche phrase that makes sense. Actually makes some freaking sense. Imagine that. So yeah, I want to be a man of my word. I want to be consistent in my actions. That's why I talk about holistic activism, holistic anarchism, and how to think about, each of your, if you haven't downloaded my book, guys, or even if you haven't been listening to the audiobooks, I put out the holistic self-assessment. It's a simple book, less than like 50, 60 pages that takes you through that whole process that I was just describing, just being able to go through your life and look at your goals, your habits, your relationships, and look for inconsistencies. You can download it on the website for free. If you want to order one, let me know. And the audiobook, I've been putting those out every couple days. It's going to be complete in the next couple days. And then after that, all 4 of my books, audiobooks, will be out. And I'm also working on an online course. That's going to be something that will cost a little bit of money for those who are interested, just to help me out and also to help yourself out. But we're going to turn the holistic self-assessment into an actual online course where I go really deep into those ideas. But yeah, so that's why we're talking about take a look in the mirror today. Taking a look in the mirror, getting to know ourselves and getting to ask ourselves important questions. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of reflecting now. I told you guys I wanted to reflect a little bit on where I've been, what I've worked on in the past, and maybe just give you guys a little bit of an awareness of all of the different things that I've been involved in, because it's been a number of years. Before we do that, though, let me catch up on some of the comments here. I was actually thinking about how I would live if I knew I didn't have much longer to live. I came to the realization that it would cause me to live in the moment. You should live in the moment now, not in that sort of like disastrous, blind, ignorant way, but in that like cherish every single moment, dude. Like take a moment. Like you guys are my family, so we can always be real with each other, I think. But man, just take a deep breath and like close your eyes and just, you don't, when I talk about prayer, I don't mean praying to a God, like Christian God or anything. We've all got different things like that. I pray to the creator, that Wakantanka, which is, the great mystery, the great spirit. And when I say that, I think of every one of you out there collectively, of each of us collectively made up of this larger entity, this larger super consciousness that we could call creator, God, whatever you want to call it, right? And things that are beyond the physical realm, the animals, the plants, the stones, the soil, the earth itself, and also I believe the energies, the spirits, however you want to say it, that go unseen. Now, whatever that means to you guys, that's fine. But at the end of the day, even if you don't have that perspective, taking a moment to just stop and give thanks, like, holy shit, I'm taking a fucking breath. Like, I'm alive. Like, you guys heard me say it. This is what it's like to be alive. This is what it's like to be alive. It involves breaking your arm and getting your heart broke and falling in love and running and jumping and playing and crying and getting high or getting drunk or being sober or whatever. It's all these beautiful experiences. So there's so much to be thankful for, to stop and to really pause and to live in the moment for. So live in the moment. Live in the moment. it's not a tombstone. That's how you live forever. I like that. Even our deaths need to be unnatural. I mean, I'm going to get turned into a mushroom suit too. Awesome book, changed my life. Every time I've had that book, someone gave it to me twice. I'm assuming you're talking about the Four Agreements. Yeah, Four Agreements is amazing. Honestly, I think I'm going to steal that tombstone idea. Go for it. Most of us have no idea when our last day on earth will be. So it's important to try to be in the moment. I agree. And, okay. I like that quote, Rika. We can confuse the shadow we cast on objects as a problem with their light, but it's just reflecting our shadow. Mine's going to say, sorry for not getting up. Death does not scare me either, man. We shouldn't be afraid of death. We should always just know that it's just another part of life. All right, so let's get some reflection going. Let's look at some of my work from the past, if you guys don't mind. Look, this is the documentary I was just showing you guys that we were playing the clip in the beginning. It's just called The Conscious Resistance, featuring Derrick Broze. And before I started The Conscious Resistance, I actually had this other channel that we're going to show you in just a moment. Actually, here's one of the channels, the Houston Freethinkers channel. This was where I first started doing activism. This channel was started in 2012. It's got less than 2,000 subscribers, but that's where I used to put all of my work. And if you guys can see here clear enough, this is a little playlist of me confronting the last mayor before the current mayor, confronting her about water fluoridation, confronting her about passing a law that says it's illegal to share food with homeless people and fluoride, confronting her about the drug war and about HPD killing people, and then going to city council and confronting them about HPD spying on the Houston Freethinkers, the activist community I started. I was leaked information. I was leaked documents. I had the documents and the pictures proving that HPD had been monitoring the activity of the group that I helped create. And in fact, that they had pictures of me specifically. So this is just me reflecting a little bit. This is back in 2013. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, I've been messing with HPD for a while. I've been messing with their heads and getting them to have to answer difficult questions that they don't want to talk about for a number of years now. And I think that's what's important. When I was talking about Joey earlier, there is a role for this. We should focus on ourselves. We should focus on solutions. But there's absolutely an important and necessary role of confronting people in positions of power like this and making them answer questions. Because at the end of the day, I mean, Joey, you know this. Anybody who's ever tried to go to any kind of press conference, they got the BS local media there who just ask a bunch of softball questions because they want access. They want to make sure that they're always invited back. So they don't ask anything real. And then you might get some random independent journalist with a little camera or something just saying, hey, why'd you kill that guy? And all of a sudden everybody's like looks at you like you got freaking something growing off the side of your head because you're the crazy one that came in there and decided to ask questions. And that's not allowed. How dare you do such a thing? But yeah, I really love doing that. Honestly, it's one of my favorite forms of activism. You get this kind of thrill where you're like, all right, I'm going to try to confront this person. I've confronted Henry Kissinger. I've questioned Rand Paul, questioned John Kerry, questioned different politicians, local, federal, whatever. And in my mind, it's like you got to get you might only have 30 seconds with them. So you got to get the question down. What are you going to say exactly? How are you going to do it? And then also, wait, are they going to try to go that way? Make sure you're ready to go that way. Are they going to try to go this way? Make sure you go that way. I mean, I freaking cased the building. Where are the exits? Where might they try to walk out of? It's a real game in a sense of there's a goal. I want to expose something. I want to ask a real question, and it's fun. I enjoy it. It really is fun to me because it's like a different kind of exercise. And I appreciate the fact that we have to put in time and energy to confront these people. If more of us did this, I mean, to me, this is what I loved about the Houston Freethinkers community. I'm going to show you guys some more of those videos that we had this community and it's basically kind of falling apart now, but we had this community where every week we were going out, passing out flyers, talking to people about controversial topics. People I got called the local Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist by the local media. We've been accused of all kinds of different things, but at the same time, we've been out there, supporting the homeless community, raising money for different groups, building community gardens, sit-ins, civil disobedience, arrests, benefit shows, parties. We were a force in the community, and there's something valuable to that. And when people saw that, they wanted a Houston Freethinkers shirt. They wanted to support us because it made them feel like even if they weren't coming and getting involved and coming to our meetings or our protests or our events, they felt like they were a part of it because that's what community is really about. And man, I miss that more than anything, honestly, because things change, everything evolves. I started the Houston Freethinkers in 2010, and it pretty much dried up by 2018, the beginning of 2018. And you can't force things, you know. I figure like, well, it ran its course. We did a lot of awesome things. We worked with a lot of great people, but in the meantime, like, you know, things have shifted. My efforts, my goals have gone more towards journalism, and I'm not in Houston as often as I used to be. So things have changed, but I'm thankful for the experiences I had and for what I was able to do and the people I was able to work with. And I'm thankful that I was able to question and challenge these different politicians. And you guys already know I'm going to run for mayor. As running for mayor, I'm going to be able to do it even more. And this shit does excite me. Like, it's like I said, there's like a certain amount of adrenaline rush that you get. You're like, all right, here they come. Can I get them? Can I get them? And then you get a good question, a couple questions in there, and then you get to go edit the video and upload it online and see if anybody gives a damn. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, so this is a video of me at City Council back in 2013. I've been doing this for a minute. You know, these recent videos of City Council are not new. It's something that, you know, I think is important. Again, now I want to show you guys another older part of my work. This is one of the first things I did. This is on my second channel that I had called Derrick Broze Live Free, which again only has a couple thousand subscribers. And eventually I stopped using this channel to launch the Conscious Resistance. But this was what I used to call the Conscious Report. It was one of my first kind of little vlog videos, and these ones are kind of embarrassing. You don't have to go back and watch any of these. Yeah, I really would recommend you not. But at the same time, you go back here, you can see me talking about anarchism and shamanism and drumming and talking about some of the same things. Like I said, these stories keep going on. The TSA, Big Brother paying attention to you, the Keystone Pipeline. I was talking about cell phones and privacy back then. I talked about my ideas on voting and being an act of violence and what I considered to be choosing voluntary poverty, why I live a simple lifestyle. So these are some of the old reports. Again, this is Derrick Broze Live Free. You can find that channel if you're interested in. I've got some viral videos on there, some of them with Adam Kokesh that we did and things like that. But the reason I'm sharing this is just to give you guys a little bit. This is me looking in the mirror and seeing where I've come from and where I'm headed and what I want to do, because as my work grows and evolves, I want to keep focusing on different topics, and I don't want to just keep repeating the news. I'm going to keep making documentaries because those are fun to me. Look at my crazy ass hair right there. Those are fun to me, but I also want to make sure that the documentaries I'm putting out are solutions based. And so I am still working on the Pyramid of Power documentary. For those of you who heard me speak last year on tour, you heard me talk about what I call the Pyramid of Power, describing the whole system, the Illuminati, New World Order, the control grid, the status, whatever the heck you want to talk about, right? How you know, however you want to think about it. But at the end of the day, besides just describing the system, I also was providing solutions for how to decentralize from that system. So that's going to be the main big project. It's probably going to be like a 10-part documentary that ends up being like 2 hours long because there's so much to cover. But I want to make sure that we're talking about those topics. And also, look, this is cool as shit to me because, you know, I've been exploring these ideas. This is December 2012 when I was first thinking about anarchism and shamanism. And that's when I had my little dreadhawk going on. People used to tell me to cut my hair even more back then than they do now. And then I pull out my drum a little bit and play a little drum for you. Let me show you guys this. Check this out. All right, I think that's enough of my drumming. You guys get the point. I love drumming. It's been a while since I've gone on here. But let me check out some of these comments. It's weird how other people feel the need to tell you how you should wear your hair. I know. If you guys have ever noticed that, people talk a lot about my hair. And maybe it's because my hair is one way that I express myself. And I've had people say I look scary. Do I really look scary there? I love my dreadhawk. I miss it, honestly. But it was time for a change, and I was ending a relationship, and it was time to shave my head and start brand new and grow all my hair back. And now I love my hair. And so, anyways, it's hair. It's hair, right? But it's also important. There's memories in here. And again, part of our native culture says that we shouldn't cut our hair because it's a connection to the Creator and to the divine, and to and also again, some people think it's silly, but for me, as somebody who is discovering and rediscovering my native heritage, when I think about the fact that some of my ancestors, not too long ago, I mean, this was just like in the 60s and the 70s when natives were allowed to grow their hair back again, some of my ancestors weren't able to even grow their hair. Like, we weren't allowed to by the state. Do you get that? Isn't that fucking crazy? We couldn't practice our own traditions, let alone grow our hair or do whatever we wanted to do, right? So for me, growing my hair is a part of that. If that sounds silly, then whatever. But that's why it's one of the reasons why I do it. So look, back in 2012, I was just exploring the ideas of anarchism, shamanism, and drumming, which led to my books and everything else. But that was kind of the beginning. And let me show you guys. Let me see if I got it here. Yeah. If you guys ever want to see all these books, we can do an episode. I've seen James Corbett do an episode where he talked about all the books on his shelf before. But Black Elk Speaks, if you've never heard of this book, really inspirational, powerful book for anybody, but it's definitely an important book for natives. And as far as like knowing some of our history, I mean, it makes me cry every time I read it. And then this book, Shaman's Path, Healing, Personal Growth, and Empowerment, is just a bunch of essays from different shamans, from different traditions. And it was published back in like the 70s or something. It's all falling apart. And that also influenced my starting to see the intersection between anarchism and freedom-based thought and these kinds of ideas. So yeah. And it's cool to just know when I look in the mirror, when I'm looking at myself, I can see that the things that I was interested in back then, they now have totally shaped my work. I might not necessarily do so many videos talking about shamanism anymore, namely because I'm not really sure about that phrase. The term shamanism, some people think it's a racist term because it's kind of a catch-all term, just like Native American. There's thousands of different tribes, and just saying Native American is just kind of like generalizing or collectivizing everybody. And shamanism, most people who we would consider shamans didn't even use that terminology. It was just something that was created later by European anthropologists. So yeah, I don't know what word you want to say, but I have my particular spiritual practices that are close to the earth. I go to Oklahoma for the Choctaw ceremony as often as possible. This summer, next month in June, I'll be going to Sundance. I missed last summer's Sundance, but I've been going for several years now, and it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And, those experiences influence and inspire and feed into my anarchist, agorist ideologies and understandings. Like, they all are a part of the same thing for me. There's no disconnection. They're part of the same thing. Can you please post some recommendations for books in your description box, please? I can. Actually, in my third book, Manifesto of the Free Humans, there's a long list of recommended reading, and I'll see if I can get that to you. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you do want to call in, I know somebody asked about calling in. I'm willing to take calls on the Discord. I'm sorry I haven't been paying attention too much to it. I'm just kind of going through some clips here, but feel free to call in and let me know, and we'll get you on the line if you got something to share. Now, this one, you guys might think this is a little entertaining. This is an old school interview that I did, again, on an old podcast I did. It used to be called Voice of the Resistance Radio back in 2012. And I interviewed Stefan Molyneux before he went crazy. And he actually still has it on his channel. I should probably download it because one day he might want to take it down because he doesn't want people to think that, he likes freedom and stuff like that. So check this out. It's called Whatever the Question, Freedom is the Answer, Stefan Molyneux. And this is pretty old school, basic, just learning Derrick Broze, where I'm asking him questions, very basic questions about, well, what would we do without the government, in this case? And what about in this case? And what about in this case? And it's a short little 30-minute interview, but yeah, some of you guys might dig it. I'm going to go ahead and share that to you guys in just a second. But I think it's funny because for those who don't know Stefan Molyneux, he calls himself a philosopher. I think there's a lot of reasons to be critical of the dude, but he definitely woke up a lot of people, I would say, and got people thinking about voluntarism and about anarchism, or at least anti-statist thinking. And since then, he became like a Trump supporter and just totally went like the wrong way. And then we did a second interview right here. This was on my second channel, Derrick Broze Live Free, interview with Stefan. This is December 2012. So again, way back in the day. And I asked him questions about the environment, GMOs, gun control, and more. So those both are there. This is like old school conscious resistance logo right here. But yeah, so, these interviews coming back from 2012, I feel like I was really, really active in just meeting people in 2012. So I've interviewed a lot of people in the past that some people haven't gone back and seen. I've got 8-9 years worth of work. I don't expect you guys to go back there and watch all this shit, and I wouldn't. But yeah, so Stefan Molyneux, before he went crazy, we had some interesting talks and conversations about what's going down. Unfortunately, he took a turn for the worst, is one way to put it. Let me check out some of these comments. Looks like you guys are saying some interesting things. Don't leave me out of the conversation. Stefan Turncoat Molyneux. Long hair is cool. I just chopped my lion's mane. Summertime. The Native American dances, when still remembered and performed accurately with original masks, are history. Now the system tells us history is only from our books. Yeah, some people really believe that Native Americans, that we are just part of the history books, that there's no culture that's still alive. There's no communities that are still alive. And that's, again, part of the propaganda. Part of the problem is that people don't realize that we are still alive. And I'm somebody who's so disconnected from my native past, but I've been learning more and more and trying to reconnect, because I didn't grow up on a reservation. I didn't grow up really being brought up into any of my heritage, either Czech or Mexican or native. And Mexicans are just another kind of native. I colored my hair for years and damaged my hair. Same here, dude. I used to have I did all kinds of crazy stuff with my hair. Now I feel like I would never want to bleach or harm my hair or do any of these things. And even, my grandmother, who is a spiritual healer, who lives a few hours away from me, huge influence to me. She kind of was saying to me about my tattoos and just, I love tattoos and I probably will get more, but I also definitely give pause to thinking about, the skin being the largest organ and what that might do over time, on a physical or a spiritual level, whatever you want to say, as far as putting that in our pores, putting ink in our pores, and what that means. And I love my body. I love this temple. It's taken a long time to say that. I can't believe I just said that. Holy shit. But I do. And it's something that I want to make sure that I take care of. That's why I've been taking care of my teeth, which, by the way, shout out. I won't embarrass the person, but I had a huge contribution from one of you guys, a supporter out there, that helped me with my dental care. You guys know I've been going to the dentist the past couple months, and I got some teeth. I got 3 teeth pulled the other day. I'll show you a funny picture maybe later of my face all bloody, and I was all like doped up at the dentist. And but I'm better now. I'm on I got some pain pills. I got some antibiotics. Hopefully this infection is gone out of my face soon. And thanks to one of you out there, I was able to do that. Really awesome supporter came through to make that much easier for me. Otherwise it would have taken much longer, and I'm just fucking astounded, but you guys support me in different ways. All right, let's take a look at some more videos, shall we? Look, this is the community I was talking about. This is the feeling that I was describing, that I was mentioning earlier. Oops, we're having a freak out. That I was mentioning earlier about wanting to be a part of, and that I miss being a part of. This is back in February 2013, when there was the NBA All-Star Game coming to Houston. And one of the things that we would do in Houston when this kind of stuff's going on is just get our crew together and go out and pass out flyers and what we call info jamming. And really, it's a beautiful way to show people what's going on. We passed out stuff about police violence, agorism, geoengineering, the police state, jury nullification, and just all kinds of different things. So check this little short clip out and you can see what I'm talking about. This is how simple it is to do. There's maybe 5 of us here and we were able to get out all kinds of info. Check this out. Would you guys be willing to do something like this with your community?
Innocent civilians. The opium yields in Afghanistan have grew exponentially since the beginning of the American occupation. All it is not what it seems, and too many good Americans are afraid to speak up. Well, I will not remain silent. In camo fatigues, I'm waving the flag high. Telling the truth is making you mad. Why? I'm not the bad guy. I'm just a messenger. I want to conversate. I'm not here to lecture ya. I'm just expressing the emotions that I feel from this war on terrorism and the notion that it's real. I'm hoping I reveal the deception and the lies. You want to go to war, you only invest in our lives. death and demise, destruction and disgust. War brings hate and pain to everything it touch. It means everything to us to see our troops coming home, even if that means taking you out of your comfort zone. Why would you want to roll with the battles we have lost? Open up your eyes, your reality is false. Fatality results don't account for the living. Dead on the inside, life is a prison. Thanks to the corporate takeover of this country, there is no longer real choice in America. We only have the illusion of choice. They keep us fighting over Republican and Democrat, so we don't look at the man behind the curtain. They don't want us to ask.
So yeah, there you go. It's a bunch of people. There's my old school buddy Josh. Bunch of people there to watch a basketball game, and we're trying to do what we can to get out there and spread awareness and spread information. You guys asking about that song? That is my friend named Double. I don't even think he makes music anymore, but he Dubble. See if you can find any of his music. But yeah, see this? It's just like 5 or 6 of us out there hitting the streets of downtown Houston during a busy event. And I guarantee you, even if you're not in a major city, there are events. You got like a local fair or a local farmer's market or something. You can get 1 or 2 other people, or even if you got to be alone, just go be alone, be the badass, and be the one to show people what's really going on and get out there in your community and spread some awareness. Because I think that's what it's going to take, because ultimately, if we don't do shit, like we were saying earlier, if we're not principled, if we don't take actions, then nobody else will. Maybe somebody else will, but why would we want to sit around and wait for other people to do it when we can do it? We can be the ones we've been waiting for. Yay. Guys, you know that idea, right? We are the ones we've been waiting for. Let's be the ones we've been waiting for. I'm going to show you guys one more clip, and then after that, I'm going to shut up and we're going to take phone calls before I get out of here for the day. This is another old school video of Derrick Broze. Some of these videos are hard for me to watch, but I'm watching them for your entertainment. This is on the Houston Freethinkers channel. Same weekend, February 2013, during the NBA All-Star Game. We're going out there, and I'm doing some man-on-the-street interviews, and I'm asking people about the Houston food ordinance, which made it illegal to share food with more than 5 people. And I also asked them about drones. And we did it in a way where I'm like, hey, if you answer some questions, you can win $20. So check this little short clip out. Derrick with the Houston Freethinkers. We're downtown Houston. We're at the NBA All-Star Game, and we're talking with
Andrew, Dorian Jackson,
with
Danielle Rudley,
with
Ahmed Matu.
So a little bit of trivia for $20. Answer 2 out of 3 questions. Well, I don't know where I went. You see how excited they are though to win $20? Let me see that again. For $20. Answer 2 out of 3 questions. The first question, can you name 5 starters in the All-Star game?
Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin.
For the record, I don't know 5 starters in the NBA All-Star game. I just was trusting that they knew what the hell they were talking about.
Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, and Dwight Howard.
LeBron, D. Wade, Kobe, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay, one so far. Second question. And this one's a little bit different. How many people is it illegal to share food with in the city of Houston? They don't even believe it's possible. Like, what do you mean? It's not illegal to share food. And then when I get to the drones, obviously most people are clueless. And to be fair, I was asking a difficult question. I asked, like, how many states or how many states or cities have bought drones or ordered drones, and most people have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Cities.
American cities. 25?
I don't know, 200?
20.
I just random guess. I would say, I don't know, 15.
81 is so far.
81 cities.
81
Wow.
cities. And actually, as of last year, Congress passed a law declaring that the Federal Aviation Authority make airspace over the next 10 years for 20,000 drones over American skies.
Wow, that's amazing.
The Houston Police Department has them. Conroe, Texas. So, did you guys hear that? This is 2013, and I said that story came out that Congress was, clearing airspace for up to 20,000 drones over American cities. So that was 6 years ago. That means that if that promise holds true, we're only about 4 or 5 years away from drones all over American skies. Pretty crazy stuff, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just for anybody who might be interested, I'm gonna post those links to you guys in the chat. And now I'm gonna go ahead and take some calls if you guys got anything to say. I know we've talked about a lot today. Did any of you actually stop and look in the mirror? Did any of you guys take some time to I don't know, just reflect at all? And if so, like, reflect with us. You can share. I feel like this is a safe space. We're all mostly friends, and even if you don't feel safe, if you don't feel like calling in, you can still just tune in. You can listen to whatever he's got to say. So I got the Discord chat open. If anybody wants to call in, feel free to call in and just voice your opinion and voice your thoughts. What does it mean to you to look into the mirror? What does it mean to you to reflect back? We just looked back. I mean, this was kind of a personal journey for me. I hope today's show is entertaining. We've been on for an hour and I didn't talk about news. Oh no. I always feel like if I don't tell you guys about news, I'm a failure in some way. I mean, it's not that serious, but I really strive to keep myself educated and share that with anybody who cares. But if you haven't seen the YouTube channel this week, I've been adding all kinds of new content. So even though we didn't talk about news today, there's plenty of news to get into. I'm more interested about what's on your mind. And you haven't even eaten breakfast yet. Look, I had my smoothie. What's up, Tyler? Holy shit, dude. Please email me. Tyler, oh my God, brother. I kind of want a drone. Drones, they're a tool. Somebody says, like, I kind of want a drone to use photographs. Dude, I want a drone for my journalism as well. I think that they're a tool. They're not inherently evil or wrong or anything like that. But it is up to each of us to decide, what we're going to support. And also, we know that this is just the reality at this point, friends, is that when it comes to technology in the hands of the people, it's decentralized, it's empowering, it's uplifting. When it's in the hands of the state or the corporations, typically, it's centralizing, it's control, it's domination, it's surveillance, it's monitoring, So it depends on who's in control of that tool. I'm glad I could make it out here. Sophia says it's been a painful process. So, well, if you guys want to call in, feel free to call in. I'm going to show you guys one more thing. I mentioned to you that I had been releasing exclusive reports just on minds.com as part of a divest from Facebook campaign. I actually put out this report yesterday. This is about another congressperson coming out and questioning the safety of 5G. I won't play the clip here, but if you want to see it, it's right there on minds.com/the Conscious Resistance Network. It's an 8-minute clip of me talking about that news story. You can check that out. And in addition to that, I also put this Minds exclusive article together about San Francisco. San Francisco could become the first U.S. city to ban facial recognition software. That's a little bit of good news, and it's pretty cool. So you can find out all that. Both of those stories, the 5G video and the facial recognition article, are only on Minds at the moment, and they will be, of course, on the website and the YouTube channel in the coming days. But for now, they're just on Minds. So check that out. Let me see. Somebody just made a comment. Cancer Merchant says, I thought of a good analogy. We are out here working on our projects, engaging in consensual relationships, striving to be more peaceful parents. You may not see the changes being made, but I liken you to the back-end engineers and promoters of positivity. Nick Sand comes to mind, the chemist who supplied countless humans with LSD, changing their lives and the lives around them. You're a seeder of ideas and actionable tasks that we can all support or all adopt inside our personal reality tunnels. From there, our lives change and spiral out to others. They see that something's off about each of us, but are curious to our methods and thinking. Like mycelium, we grow where the substrate is fertile. Keep it up. We're out here doing the work too. Man, I appreciate that. Seriously, that means a lot. And I hope everybody doesn't think that my video earlier about this is not entertainment and just my expressing like it's time to take action means that I think you guys are just a bunch of lazy fucks who don't do anything, because that's far from the truth. I want to encourage. I always want to stay focused on action, because the reality that I've noticed, guys, just you guys know, I give you a little behind the scenes of getting involved in these different movements, is that I realize that some of these people who are out here creating content, they are basically they would be content to just go the rest of their lives and keep getting invited to speak at conferences and keep making YouTube videos and things like that, when I really want to actually change the shit. You know what I mean? Like some of us actually are trying to change, what's going on in the world. Others, I think, just want to be involved in, I don't know, the party. I don't know what it is. Some people just want to be the it crowd, right? Think about this. There are influencers. There's the influencer culture. Well, there's also the activist influencer culture where some people just want to keep coming to the Anarchapulcos and to this and that and this and that. Like, I don't want to keep coming to these events. I was supposed to be in California speaking at Lightning in a Bottle this week, but I turned it down because as opposed to going out there and having this beautiful time and networking and speaking and probably meeting lots of cool people, I feel like there's shit I need to be doing here right now. I need to get my RV ready so that I can get the hell out of here, so that whenever they implement facial recognition everywhere, and in order to fly, and they have social credit scores and they're trying to force vaccinate and whatever, I can get me and the people I care about and any of my family members who will listen and get the fuck out of here, you know? So I feel like it's time to put the nose to the grindstone, I think is what how the phrase goes, and get some shit done, because that's what I want. I want to get some shit done. I want to work on changing what's going on around me, and inspiring other people to do the same thing. So if we can do that, then I think that we are headed in a good direction. But I appreciate the comments. I think that I got somebody who is going to call in. And yes, Rika, that was an Anarchapulco Discord server that they added me to however long back. I've never even checked it. And I see some people saying they like Anarchapulco. Well, if you like Anarchapulco, which I would recommend not going to Anarchapulco, but you want to support other similar events, there's Anarcho Vegas coming up in just a couple of weeks, which I know Joey will be at. And there is also, that's July 19th through the 21st, Anarcho Vegas. Check that one out. There's lots of other good speakers. You can see the usual crowd. And this is the other thing. After a while, I'm like, okay, it's the same people. Like, maybe different people in different parts of the country are getting to see us, but it's like, it's the same little crowd of us. And good people. I'm not saying they're not good people. Bo, Justin, King, Larkin Rose, G. Edward Griffin, Carrie, Josh Segerson, Ford Fisher, Benny Wills, Luke, Dan. And then you also got the Anarchadelphia, which I will be speaking at. And that's going to be obviously in Philadelphia in September. And, you know, there's all kinds of good speakers there. So check out both of those if you guys are looking to plug into events for those who can afford it and who want to be able to go and do those things. Mostly because I think we should travel to these things and build a network physically, not temporary. Sahid is right. Yes, one of the most beautiful aspects of connecting physically, outside of like it takes a lot of money and, you know, it can definitely be costly. If you got to fly, you got to get food, get a place to stay. But the networking that comes together when these activists happen, when these activist events, that's why I do it. That's the main reason I still do it, is because getting to meet and work with so many great activists. I have deleted all my social media till I have fixed my shit. That's a good idea, Sophia. If you need to fix your shit, focus on yourself for the good of everyone else. Derek, you are so lucky to have Miriam travel with you and do activism with you. I am a very blessed man, and I feel honored that I found somebody who's fucking cool as shit and that likes to, you know, do the things that I do, and has not just do the things that I do, but that she has her own drives and her own passions and her own interests that intersect. So check those out. Somebody says, how do you ring in? I don't use. Okay, Sophia, check the description below the YouTube video. There's going to be a link to Discord. I'll hang out while you do that if you want to call in. Just join the Discord chat and then send Into the Light, which is me, a friend request. I just got a friend request a moment ago from somebody. And if you want to call in, I'm looking at the Discord chat now. And if not, that's cool too. I don't want to pressure anybody to make phone calls. Check out Rainbow Farms Camp in Lower Michigan. Top quality activist band, etc. I'll check it out, man. Once I leave Houston at the end of this year, after I do this mayoral campaign and I go fuck up the mayor race and talk about real stuff, I'm going to get in my RV. Me and Miriam are going to be there. We're going to start just creating the life that we want. Traveling, though, the beauty of traveling, the downside is that you can't be rooted. So I can't have a garden while I'm on the road, but we're going to be visiting a few different places here in the U.S. We're going to get some permaculture certification, permaculture learning. We're going to just develop more skills and partner with some more people, and then head to wherever I plan to live. And I'm not going to say where yet because we don't know yet, but that's the plan. So, you know, I have a very strategic plan of what I'm doing the next 6 months to 2 to 3 years of my life, because I don't think that things are going to be that great here in the United States in the early 2020s. I think things are going to be a little bit fucked up in the 2020s if we don't get together and start figuring out how to take care of each other, how to support each other. And at the very least, if you can't come together, if you can't support each other, then you need to at least be able to take care of your family, I guess. And if that's all you can do, then that's a good thing. I'm going to post the Discord link real quick so we can get someone, let me see. Got the Discord link. Let's see if this works. Stop by Iowa. Cool. I'll come see you in Iowa. I want to come to Iowa. I haven't been to Iowa. I know there's lots of corn. All right, cool. There's the Discord link. Posted that. I'm going to hang out for just a few more minutes. And if nobody wants to call, that's cool. I'm going to just end the show by playing some more of that documentary, the Conscious Resistance documentary, so you guys can hear some of that and vibe out. Oh, wait, we got a call. Let's do it. Hello. Hello, you there, brother? Oh, let me make sure. Can you hear me? You looks like you're muted.
Oh yeah, I am.
There
Can you hear
go.
me now?
I can hear you, brother. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. Just hanging out this morning, doing this show, and just trying to spend my morning, getting some things off my chest and connecting with you guys. How are you feeling?
Right. It's the afternoon here. 1:11. So that's a shout out to ATR, I guess. So yeah, I wanted to talk about reflection a little bit, since that was the main topic.
Yeah, go for it, brother.
If you don't mind. Yeah. So this is something I've been thinking about lately, because basically Muslims were called to go ahead and prostrate and pray every day. Normally it's 5 times a day, but that's what you'd hear normally. But I do it about 2 times a day, morning and evening. And ever since I've been doing that, I've been gaining a lot of like insight, because those are 2 times of the day when early morning, and then when it starts getting dark is when you can basically get some time to yourself, and nobody's gonna blame you for wanting to get time for yourself and all that. So I've been doing a lot of self reflection during that time, and I've been learning a lot of things about it. And honestly, this is something I was speaking about with other people inside the Freedom Cell, or the Conscious Resistance group. But basically, that actually putting your face on the ground, like on the dirt, like I feel like there's a power to it where you can really get deep into self-reflection that way. It puts you in like a humble kind of mood, especially if you're, doing it outside where people can see you. Um, but at the same time, like that's the dirt where we all came from. We're all from the earth, ultimately. And so when you're actually putting your face against it, there's nothing to be like ashamed of, because that's where we all came from. It's like the ultimate kind of like humility. And so from that experience, the last couple like weeks, I feel like I've been gaining a lot of insight. And I feel like it might even intertwine with like that idea of power centers, and there's aquifers underground, and maybe if there's like water moving under there, maybe it adds to the experience. But so I'm not embarrassed to like talk about like that kind of crazy stuff, because I mean it's all one system anyways, and so it really does possibly add on to each other. And I think at the same time it relates also with the sun, and the phases this goes through, and there's a lot to it, to be honest. And I've been exploring it and writing it down a whole lot. But if anybody's interested in that kind of like kind of stuff, I feel like it's definitely something worth looking into,
Yeah, brother, absolutely.
or self-reflect.
What I like about what you're talking about there. First of all, it's funny because not like maybe a year ago I was in the Choctaw Reservation for a ceremony for a lodge we were doing out there, and my kind of mentor, the chief out there, his name's Gray Eagle. He was talking about how this idea of what is now, I guess, being called grounding and earthing and things like that, and he was just sort of, obviously he thinks it's a good thing, but he was kind of just making the joke. He's like, it's funny that now it's become like a trend for people to talk about earthing and grounding whenever it's something that's just as old as human beings, being connected to the planet. But we also went through a period, and I think some people are still in that period of being so disconnected from the earth that, like you said, it's like almost like something to be embarrassed of, that, oh wait, you like even the idea of like calling somebody a tree hugger is meant to be a derogatory term or something like that, because we're so disconnected from the planet that hugging a tree or being connected to a tree or spending time in nature, or like you said, laying and touching the soil and the earth, which is where we come from, which is the source of all of our food and of everything that we need to exist, is kind of could be seen as silly to some people. But I think it's actually, like you're saying, man, it's something that is it's deep within us, man. So it's natural, if anything.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think laying under the stars too is something that I've kind of like actually I it was just like 2 nights ago that I actually got on the ground. I was like, oh my god, I just realized I've been ignoring the sky this whole time while I'm focusing on the ground doing this last couple of weeks. I never realized that I haven't like actually just turned around and just looked up at the stars at night and just relaxed. I mean, and not since I was a kid at least. And so that was kind of like that was actually a turning point. I feel like for me.
That's a connection to your inner child, man. Right there, you said it yourself. Like it's something you hadn't done since you were a kid, and those are the kind of things that we ignore or we forget about along our journey. You know, it's like we get busy just being adults or whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. You know, and growing up that you forget to just stop and check out the stars or put your hands in the soil. Because I mean, I can say honestly, man, one of my favorite parts of being involved in community gardens and growing my own food, besides the obvious skill in growing your own food and all that good stuff, is just getting my hands dirty. Like I love looking at my hands and they're covered in soil, and like I don't know, and just digging my toes into the dirt and the soil. Like there's something that just feels good about that.
Exactly right, man. That's commented in the YouTube chat about how I actually had dirt on my face when I looked into the mirror because I just came from outside, and I'm glad that I caught this after I did come from outside. But yeah, that's exactly right. And on top of that, you mentioned about being disconnected from even just time. Like I feel like that's one big thing that I've noticed is like how many people are disconnected from the idea of time, like because of the months and the calendars and our watches and all that. That we don't realize that time comes from actually the sun moving across the sky and all that and all the definitions with it. It's all this daylight saving times and all this junk kind of further removed us from what was original. And so when I talk to people about solstices and equinoxes and what times, like the actual time, because people will actually look at a chart for when to pray, even though it's based off the sun. They could just look outside, and so it blows my mind how disconnected people are, even yeah, even on a religious level in our practices, how disconnected we are with like the sun. And so that connects to another thing that I've been thinking about recently, and I don't know if anybody's interested in this. If you don't mind, I can talk if I can like
Go for it,
talk
brother.
about it. Yeah. So basically, I was thinking that um, almost everything has its own like its own dawn and dusk and sunrise and sunset. Basically, when the sun goes ahead and crosses and shadows cast, but once it moves across and like the light actually is able to shine on it, then it's almost like its own personal dawn. Even though the local area would have its own dawn on the wider scale, on a smaller scale it has its own dawn or its own sunrise. And basically dawn is like the definition of dawn is like you see the scattered light before the sun actually rises. So when when there's on a wider scale, basically when the scattered light is able to go ahead and shine on it, it's that's its dawn. And when the sun is actually directly in view of it, then it becomes that's its sunrise, that moment when it actually is in view of that like specific space. So literally I think that every single space has its own dawn and dusk depending on the obstacles that are in between it and the sun and whatnot, but eventually it goes through. I think it actually connects with like ancient practices of making like a pinhole, and at some point in the year the sun will actually cross it, and at all other points throughout the year it doesn't. Anyways, I think it's an interesting thing to think about. Maybe there's something there to explore because it does connect us back to like the idea of like what time really is, and all that. But anyways, that's just a thought that I've been exploring
Yeah,
recently, and
man.
that's what I want to talk about.
I appreciate it, brother. And I just want to let you know that I always appreciate what you contribute to the Discord and just the conversation and the dialogue, man. Please just keep it up and let's stay connected, man. And you're welcome to call back anytime. I appreciate it.
Thanks for taking the call, man.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon. All right, guys. So we got some time. If anybody else would like to call in as well, while we wait to see if that's going to happen, I want to remind you guys to bookmark and visit theconsciousresistance.com. I heard you guys saying how much you like Regan, and we all love her. She's amazing. She does good work. If you haven't seen her latest video, The Encouraging Truth, check that one out. Also, if you guys haven't seen this video where I put out a couple days ago, protect yourself from 5G, Wi-Fi, and EMR with Defender Shield. This is a company that I met, a family-run company that I met recently, who are selling products that can help protect you, not completely, but protect you, defend you against electromagnetic radiation in different ways, laptops, cell phones, and things like that. And so if you're interested, check that out. And if you use the promo code FREE20, you get a discount. I'm not getting paid any of this money at all, by the way, for those who think I'm like shilling or something. It's just a company that seems to do some good work, and I'm all about that. So check them out if you're interested in that. And yeah, I'll check the Discord one more time. And other than that, guys, if there are no further questions, then we can wrap it up for the day. And I'm going to just play out a little bit of the Conscious Resistance documentary, which, as I said earlier, is made up of old shows, old web shows and podcasts that I did back in 2012 and 2013 that a buddy put together and made into this really awesome documentary. So yeah, it doesn't look like we have any other callers for today, which is cool with me. It's 12:30 here in Houston. I'm gonna get ready to make some food to chill out and enjoy the rest of my weekend. I appreciate you guys so much. This has been a really fun episode. I didn't talk about the news once. We talked about ideas. We talked about solutions. We talked about reflections. I showed you guys a little bit about my past work, and we took a phone call. So this has been cool. I've had a good morning, good with you guys, good enjoyable morning. So let's go ahead and end it with some of this documentary I think you guys might enjoy. Remember, guys, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.
And that is what keeps them from wanting to question. Confront them with information. Confront them with an education about what's really taking place in the world. Because only once we give up the treats and the goodies and the self-indulgences and this trough that the state has us feeding at, can we truly take the power from it and pull the rug up from under the state. But it's going to require us to let go and to stop being so afraid to let go. And that includes taking care of your heart, your mind, your soul, your physical body, taking care of your education, taking care of those around you. I believe in you. I believe in the power of us to come together as empowered individuals and to not lose ourselves, but to only become stronger when we're joined together. To me, the idea of a voluntary society is a place where every man, woman, child, being is able to express themselves fully without the threat of force or violence against them for their choices in their own lives. To me, this is also what is known as anarchy. Anarchy coming from two Greek words, and signifying no or without, and arch meaning government, hence anarchy meaning no government. And in an anarchist society, we would have what is known as voluntarism, the belief in creating a voluntary society without force. The ideas of the non-aggression principle, the ideas that we can all work together and can respect each other and have our own minds and our own ability to take care of ourselves, taking the government out of social interaction and getting rid of this paternalism that we see where the government has control of everything. And to me, it goes deeper than that as well. I mean, recognizing that we have paternal systems that have taken control, and we have turned away from the feminine as well, the feminine of paying attention to our planet and to our spiritual side. And so to me, when you start to work towards a voluntary society or an anarchist society, you're really reconnecting back to a closer, more natural state to what we probably experienced in the past. And my research into voluntarism and to create a voluntary society led me towards the idea of agorism. And agorism is basically the idea of anarchy and action. And so taking the ideas of self-rule and creating these better systems and actually going out in the world and doing it. So agorism is what I like to think of as once people have decided to stop reading about creating a voluntary society or an anarchist society and stop talking about it and decided to go out in the world and do this. So you look at any problem that we may face in the world, or any situation we're dealing with where there is a state or government option, and try to find ways that you as an individual or the community can do it better. So one of these ways is the food. Right now there's a huge monopoly on our lives, and specifically on what we ingest, what we put into our bodies. Growing your own food is one of the biggest steps towards independence. It lessens the control that the monopolies have on your lives. It lessens the control that the monopolies have on the farmers that are growing food in other countries, and it also helps us localize and focus on what we can do here at home. And a big part of that for me is why focusing on anarchy and focusing on the self is so important, because we have individuals who are lost in themselves and are easily manipulated and taken advantage of by the state, and they buy into the division, they buy into the fear, they buy into all these different aspects. But when you start to really go deeper with this, and not just in a political understanding of anarchy or global events, but going deeper with it and really focusing on how you can better your local area, how you can better yourself, and all these things, you start to connect on a level that I believe takes you past just politics and understanding of that world. You start to connect with yourself, and when you go out there and you start to create gardens, or you create alternative currency networks, or creating barter networks, or just communicating and talking to your neighbors and moving past division and getting outside of boxes, the matrix, so to speak, and learning to connect with each other. I think that's what's bringing us closer to evolving as a species, and I believe we are doing this already. The fact that these conversations are taking place, that these ideas are being explored, shows that they are spreading. And so I see the work of voluntarism and anarchism and agorism as hugely important, recognizing the power of your own self and what you're capable of, and the fact that nobody else can control you or should try to control your choices. And in that political philosophy of voluntarism, the idea is that the best way society can improve, and the only way society can truly improve, is the individualist method, the method of everybody doing their own to improve themselves. The idea is hoping that we can each change our individual units, and as we do that and that idea spreads, society will begin to improve as well.
I'd like to discuss forming a synthesis between anarchy and spirituality. Personally, I'm interested in finding common ground between the philosophy of anarchy, specifically agorism, and spirituality, specifically Buddhism and shamanism. Anarchy, of course, is self-rule, self-ownership, and a lack of central authority. When I say agorism, I'm speaking of the philosophy of anarchy that focuses on self-sufficiency, the idea of counter-economics, black and gray markets, and creating alternatives.
When I say spirituality, I'm referring to a practice that brings you closer to your nature, to your essence, to who you are. When I mention Buddhism, I'm speaking specifically about Zen Buddhism and the meditation practice known as Zazen. And finally, shamanism. Shamanism has been called the aboriginal roots of religion. All over the world, cultures, aboriginals, and native peoples were deeply connected to nature in the past. They used practices that some in our modern rational world would consider insane. Through the use of hallucinogenic plants, drums, meditation, one could experience a cleansing, a connection, a deeper understanding of self. This is also done through deeply personal journeys known as shamanic journeys. My interest in these topics has drawn me to find common threads between them. My interest in anarchy comes from one of freedom. My interest in agorism comes from one of action, out of a need to create solutions in my life to make the world a better place. While agorism calls for action by creating alternative currency, self-sufficiencies, and barter networks, Zen also calls for action. Agorism is action in the physical realm, and Zen is action of the mind. In Zen, the greatest action you can do is to sit, to still your mind. It's really about being conscious, becoming more aware of your own decisions. And this is about connecting with your mind. These two philosophies both call for action, one in the physical sense, and the other for action in the internal world, but both, again, are about action. So while studying some of the anthropological studies of shamanism from cultures around the world, I've found an amazing connection to anarchy. In anthropologist Michael Harner's book, The Way of the Shaman, he speaks on the reason why shamanism and indigenous teachings were wiped out. He said the following: "The reason it was wiped out is because it undermines the authority of the state and church. To have hundreds of thousands of prophets running around on the loose. In shamanism, everyone is his or her own prophet, getting spiritual validation directly from the highest sources. Such people rock the boat. They are subversive. After all, if everyone is an authority, there's little possibility of creating a monopolistic business based on privileged access or right to interpret the words of official prophets or books. It's anarchy. Shamanism is the original anarchy." But I'm not discussing religion. To me, religion is to spirituality as statism is to anarchy. On both of these, we see control and blocks to freedom. Meditation and shamanic practices are completely impersonally direct experiences. Whatever you find there in your own mind, nobody can take that away from you. And with anarchy, we see this as our direct connection to being a sovereign, free individual. There's no authority. There's a direct correlation. So, to pursue meditation, to pursue shamanic practices, it requires letting go of fears, insecurity, and ego. And I'm not proposing we create some new anarcho-shamanism, and I'm definitely not trying to say this is a one-size-fits-all solution, because those don't work. I'm rather providing another option, what I believe is a further evolvement of anarchy. In the New Libertarian Manifesto, Samuel Konkin III wrote, "There is no one way, one straight line graph to liberty, to be sure, but there is a family of graphs that will take the libertarian to his goal of a free society, and that space can be described." I believe with a sense of spirituality and understanding of self coupled with philosophical understanding of anarchy and the role of government creates another solution. If we simply understand the nature of government and the immorality of force, but we don't go deeper and don't pursue to conquer our own demons and to learn about who we are, we skip past the deeper root causes that are the true cause of statism. We may beat this current government and get past statism, create agorist ventures, and find solutions, but I believe in a couple hundred years or so, we will create a new type of statism if we don't pursue deeper levels of understanding of self. And the things that make us mistrust each other and mistreat each other, the things that make us pursue violence, that make us pursue and allow theft, and to be caught into fear. Because as we all know, the state controls us through fear. So as long as we allow that fear to bind us, we are going to keep creating the same situation. Konkin also wrote, "A lot more than statism would have to be eliminated from individual consciousness for a free society to exist." We have to remain consistent with our message and in our actions. When we apply our principles consistently, not only in political and activist realms, but in our everyday lives with our thoughts, our words, and our actions, we are contributing to the continued evolution of our species. If you're familiar with agorism, you're likely familiar with the 3 A's of agorism. Agora, or the marketplace, the exchange; anarchy is self-rule; and action, which is needed to move these things forward. The 3 A's have been reminding me of a paraphrase of a Buddhist saying, about wisdom, compassion, and action. The 3A's form a path to success with agorism, and I believe wisdom, compassion, and action form a path to success as far as Buddhism is concerned. If you have wisdom, you're smart and you're an intelligent person. You understand the way the world works, and you have your view of this. But if you don't have compassion to your fellow human being, then why would you choose to work with them to advance forward? You're only thinking about yourself. But if you have only compassion, but no wisdom, then you're continuously running around and strictly letting your heart lead you, getting hurt and being led astray. So again, lacking balance. If you have wisdom and the smarts to use it and compassion towards those around yourself, but you don't apply the action, then you're still lacking. So what we need is wisdom and understanding of the world, compassion for ourselves and our fellow human beings, and combine that with action. And with that in mind, I like to propose adding a 4th A to Konkin's 3A's of agorism. I believe anarchy, the agora, and of course action are necessary and are part of the path to success. But I would also like to propose that awareness be a part of this path. Once again, awareness of self, so you better rule and understand yourself. How can you know how to rule yourself, what you want, what you desire, if you do not understand who you are, where you're coming from, what you're afraid of, your insecurities, your doubts, your fears, and how to move past them? You set yourself free with anarchy. And of course, awareness applied to your actions. When we apply the same understanding and awareness to our own selves, we are deepening our understanding of what it truly means to be free. I hope that each and every one of you will take some time to slow down, be conscious, and to become more aware of your own thoughts, words, and actions.
Sonora bonica,